Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you guys another one of my Cardfight Vanguard complete Vanguard set collection videos. With the set Bermudas getting closer this week, I thought I'd bring you guys one more of my collection binders to show you guys. We've already gone through sets 1 through 7, so now we will be going through sets 8 through 10 in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So to start off with the binder, we are showing set BT08, which is Blue Storm Armada. Now, an interesting thing about this set, this was actually the first set that my locals took part in for sneak preview. We actually got the kits in, which we were actually surprised. We didn't know that our store owner actually ordered them. But it was very fun because a lot of us were looking to build a lot from this set. I was looking to build Neonectar, and a bunch of people were looking to build Aquaforce. We actually had 3 in our group that wanted to build, involving the 3 different cards, including Naval Gazer, Hydro Hurricane, and Maelstrom for their decks, respectively. But with this set, we got a lot of cards, and I think this is actually one of the first sets where we didn't get any United Sanctuary units in this set. We had Dimension Police, Neonectar, Narukami, Aquaforce, and Tachikaze, I believe, and a couple Great Natures as well. But with it, we got cards like Great Dayusha and Galactic Beast Zeal. This was the first pack that Zeal actually got support in. Great Dayusha was the cross ride for Dayusha, obviously. Limit Break support for that set as well. For Neonectar, we were introduced to the Musketeer deck, which would go on to have a lot more support in future sets. Sephiroth was also introduced in this. This was the big set for Aquaforce, having 3 cards be triple rare, including one of these Storm Rider Basil for grade 2 support, which a lot of people needed for the full Maelstrom deck for sure. And Narukami also received Dungaree support, which is the main focus in this set for Narukami. And other cards we received included many holos, 5 in total for Neonectar for the double rares. We had one of them was the Counterblast 2 draw, which was funny they already received one in set 5. I guess they gave us another one with a different name. Not sure the reason, but still funny that they did that. And then 4 Musketeer holos. So that deck was fully foil and made it difficult for a lot of people later on to receive those cards as well. Tachikaze got their limb break in the form of Raptor Colonel and Dark Rex, which Rex would see some later support down the road with other booster packs. Aquaforce received 2 doubles themselves, one of them being their Perfect Guard, Pascal, meaning this was before Perfect Guards also came in trial decks, so the hard way to get them, that was for sure. And then the only Great Nature double that we received in this pack is Armed Instructor Bison, which was just more grade 3 support for people that wanted to test out different versions, obviously, for Great Nature. Other than that, for rares, we received some more of the Zeal Ride Chain. We also received a couple other standards, including 12k attackers for grade 3s, backup support, a Mega Blast, more Dimensional Robo support as well, which I found interesting. They gave us stuff to basically you could run the full deck of D-Robos as a whole, with Goyusha finally arriving as well, a good starter for the deck. And we also received the Ride Chain, good amount of Ride Chains for basically Neonectar, Tachikaze, and a lot of other support. Aquaforce as well. Big cards, I think actually more popular cards than the Bison themselves in this set were Compass Line and Coiling Duckbill, which will be used later on in other Great Nature decks as well. For commons, and we received interdimensional support, as well as more damage enablers, is what we like to call them at my locals, for Dimension Police and all the others as well. Cosmic Rider, plenty of new triggers as well. We received the grade 3 Searcher for Dimension Police, 1 of each trigger for them as well, introducing the monster lineup for cards like Zeal, and the first, I believe, Dimensional Robo trigger, which was the Critical Die Battles. Backup grade 3 support, which was the only backup grade 3 for a good while we had for Musketeers, as well as a couple other grade 3s and 2s for Neonectar, since really all we had to work with beforehand was the stuff that we had from set 5, Awakening Twin Blades. But we received more triggers as well, 1 of each, just like Dimension police, 2 for musketeers, then 2 generics. They'd get more triggers down the road, obviously. For Tajikaze, they received grade 3s as well, along with more of the ride chain, the damage enablers as well, a grade 3 searcher, and more triggers also, including the, basically they got all the generics. They had no real subclan yet, but they did receive a good amount of, generic support just to help out with the ratio so you could run more than what they had, since we didn't really receive much for the deck until this part, since Demonic Lord Invasion, which was booster set 3. But Aquaforce, still the main focus. They only got 2 triggers in this, but they did have, obviously, the trial deck beforehand, which they got 4 of each trigger. So just an additional stand trigger and critical trigger for them to really balance out the deck, but they would obviously receive more support for it down the road, especially in the next set. And to finish up, the last, Narukami was given 1 draw, and Great Nature was given another starter to work with, which was really most of the support that they got in this set. Was small compared to the others, but like I said, those supports were meant to give just more support in general for those clans. On to set 9, which was I believe it was called Clash of Dragons and Blades, which was the final set, booster set 9 for the first season of the Limit Break format. We were given more cross rides, more support for Angel Feather, and other support for Gold Paladin, Narukami, and Aquaforce, which were the main focus cards in this set. We also got more Murakumo support, since they, along with Neo Nectar, received support in set 5, and they just needed more support to help them out, and they got it in the form of Limit Break. We also received plenty of cross rides in this set. This was definitely the set known for cross rides. We had 5 cross rides in total, including Glory Maelstrom, Goddess of the Sun Amaterasu, Ultra Beast Deity Illuminal Dragon, Crimson Impact Metatron, and Blazing Lion Platina Ezel. We also got Chrome Jailer for the Spectral Duke support fans, and the Blood was the final cross ride that we received in this set for Narukami. Other backup support from Murakumo included Shirayuki, which would later get support down the road. We had Tamamo as well for Murakumo, Tri-Stinger Dragon for Aquaforce, Battle Sisters actually getting a new grade 3 in the form of Limit Break. It was kind of like their generic Limit Break support for the +5 effect. Polaris, which was sort of meant to be like, the new main unit for Chris in the anime. We also had the first reprints of Perfect Guards in this set for Halo Shield Mark and Wyvern Guard Gold, which they displayed the new shield for these cards in this booster set. Pale Moon also received support in the form of double rare, which definitely did help the deck, and it also gave them some more Limit Break options, along with Luquier, which would later become its own sub clan in general. We also had the Royal Paladin and Shadow Paladin support in the form of Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark Spirits. They could be mixed in with Gold Paladin and Royal Paladin, so fans found that interesting that this was how their reappearance in the anime would be. We only saw Blaster Blade Spirit, we didn't see Blaster Dark, but gave both to those units. And then other support, the Magatsu Ride Chain followed the trend in set 8 as the other ones did, with the rarity of their starter in grade 2. Aquaforce receiving more grade 3s and 2s to work to support the Maelstrom deck. And Amaterasu also receiving her own 12k and 10k attackers in this set, as well as adding additional support for Beast Deity, giving it more Beast Deity named cards to use. Also more support for Ezel, giving its own 12k attacker, support cards, and starter searcher. The Blood followed suit in the same pattern. And we received a couple backup Pale Moon rares as well. And for the commons, we had plenty of Murakumo support, including grade 3 searchers, triggers, which was crazy. Murakumo actually got 6 triggers in this set. They definitely needed it, that was for sure. They got 2 criticals, 2 draws, a stand, and a heal. So fully customizable with all you wanted to do now with the deck. I think they just had 2 stands in the deck, but other than that, they had enough to work with to customize out what they wanted. We also got the Soul Blast 2 draw for Aquaforce and an additional starter as well. The two triggers that they got in this set, they wouldn't actually get an additional draw for a good while now, but I think until set 13, but they had plenty of crits and stands to work with, which were the main focus. Obviously stand triggers for multiple attacks with the deck. Supersonic Sailor was definitely a big one with the unflip damage, staple in a lot of Aquaforce decks to the future as well. Oracle Think Tank for their commons, starters, Riser support for Nova Grappler as well. People were really looking forward to getting more and more cards because after Kamui used Perfect Riser, they really wanted to fully build as big of a Perfect Riser only or Riser only deck that they could. And the damage cards themselves for, you know, Oracle Think Tank and Nova Grappler as well to support Limit Break, and Angel Feather receiving cards which they could be used in the damage zone for different effects including power and whatnot. But there's definitely a large set compared. We had common support for Great Nature as well. They got an effect, draw trigger, Casting a Donkey, Gold Paladin, and Narukami also received triggers, stands, and crits for them. Angel Feather receiving the same in the form of a draw trigger with a damage effect. And lastly, a couple more Pale Moon cards to finish off the last set for the first season of Limit Break, the Asia Circuit. And then the last set that I have in this binder that we'll be going over is the first set of the Link Joker season, Triumphant Return of the King of Knights, given that name for the return of Alfred and all other support, introducing the Eradicator and Liberator decks. They already were released in trial decks beforehand, so this was all additional support. And another interesting fact about set 10, we actually received set 10 after set 11 in the English format, Sealed Dragons Unleashed. So we actually had that support for Kagero, Aquaforce, and other things before we had this set. But with all my collections, I'm going in, you know, chronological order of their actual numbered sets, just to make more sense with the video. Otherwise, I would have gone sets 1, 2, 6, and it all just would have gone out of order. But anyway, moving on to this set, we introduced back Royal Paladin to the game, getting support in the form of the Jewel Knight deck, and Break Rides were also introduced into the series. Royal Paladin and Genesis and Nova Grappler received their Break Rides in this pack. Narukami and Gold Paladin received their Break Rides in the trial decks, so they already had theirs released. For support, we were also given Liberator, the Round Table Alfred, to work with Gancelot from the new set. These are the two great cards, Salome and Ashley, that you would use for the Jewel Knight deck, and Oracle Queen Himiko was the card that you would use with the backup double rare, which we'll get to, until Fortuna would come out in Sealed Dragons Unleash, along with Iwanaga Hime, which was also the power card and more of the offensive one to use with the Break Ride Himiko. So full support for the new clan Genesis as well, which kind of replaced Oracle Think Tank for Misaki in the series. So I think that's what they were kind of going for. But that was the big new thing of this pack as well, is that a new clan was introduced. We had Narukami, Angel Feather, and Gold Paladins, and with these this season we would have Genesis and later on Link Joker. We also received a couple other double rares as well for Eradicators. We had Gauntlet Buster and Descendant, two cards with two different abilities and play styles, meaning you can kind of branch off depending on which one you wanted for your deck. Other than that, we had other double rares, a lot of Perfect Guards in this set. We had Perfect Guards for Jewel Knights, Liberators, Genesis, Eradicators, and Spike Brothers, so a good 5 Perfect Guards, let alone we also had Genesis Ride Chain, backup support for Golds, grade 2s for plenty of the other decks as well, and didn't get any triple rares, but Spike Brothers also received support in the form of Break Rides and new grade 3s, along with a Cheer Girl Marilyn reprint as well. They gave us new versions of Gold and Halo Shield Mark to work with the Eradicator and Liberator decks, but still very, very nice that they did that. For the rares, we had Dignified Silver Dragon and a bunch of other rare support to support just generic Royal Paladin, along with the Jewel Knight support. Oops, excuse me there. for the Liberators, Josephus, Wingal Liberator, which was also available in SP in the set. And for Genesis, backup grade 3s, along with a lot of other rares, including parts of the Ride Chains and their 10K, and also additional Soul Charge units as well. For Narukami, they received another Mega Blast, backup grade 2s for the deck, backup grade 1s, Linshu, which was a very good starter for them as well. 12K for Beast Deities was also introduced in this set, as well as a lot of them received the +5 limit break guy that a lot of other ones would soon follow suit. Spike Brothers, same. They got Dudley Mason, which would start the Dudley support as well with some of the older Dudley cards we have. For commons, more generic limit break support for Royal Paladins and new trigger lineups as well. For the Jewel Knights, they got one of each trigger, so if you want to mix and match, you would have to use non-Jewel Knights, but rainbow triggers for each one beforehand. And we would also get 2 triggers for Gold Paladins, a stand and a critical. They already received their other Liberator triggers from the trial deck, so these were kind of like bonus ones added. And same goes for Genesis, receiving their first 8K. The 10K was a rare, but other generic support. And they received a whopping 7 triggers, since this was the first set that introduced them to the game. So we received 2 draws, 2 stands, 2 crits, and a heal, meaning you could basically go how you wanted with the trigger lineups. You just couldn't run a full 12 crit or 12 stand or 12 draw, anything like that, but still I would say enough to make what you want with the deck. And for Narukami, a good amount of Eradicator support, following the same pattern as Gold Paladins, just getting a critical and a stand since they already had other cards from the trial deck. And Beast Deities would get more cards as well for that support, which would later also be supported in BT13. Catastrophic Outbreak, which would be the set to finish off the Beast Deity support from this set. And lastly, on the final page, we have the last of the Spike Brothers support, which were the 2 starters, and just more additional support for Limit Break, really, for the Spike Brother deck, adding on with the old support that the deck had in total. But other than that, that ends this look at collections BT08 through BT10. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Definitely looking forward, and seems that you guys enjoy these collection videos as well. I have plenty more collections to go through, including the extra boosters, the main sets, the G sets, so can't wait to do them all for you guys. And I think we're just going to go in order to follow suit with everything. But once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and until next time, Kira Qualia out.